Welcome to A Marvelous Life. I'm Nashology, and today we continue on with our very first series on the Thunderbolts. Before we continue, make sure you check out part 1 of the Thunderbolts series on this channel. And on that point, check out my video called Unmasked the Thunderbolts, which goes into more detail about the background of this new roster of Thunderbolts. To keep these videos moving at a good pace, I usually try to keep the rewind sections pretty short. So if you want a little bit of a deeper understanding of who the Thunderbolts are, be sure to check out that video. Today, we'll be looking at the next 3 issues, which will further introduce you to more characters and their motivations moving forward. Remember, the Thunderbolts are ex-villains looking to rehabilitate their image. And in some cases, they're just as villainous as ever. Norman Osborn is starting to crack mentally. Songbird believes she should be the leader of the Thunderbolts. And who knows what Moonstone is planning behind everyone's backs. The plot will only thicken from here. We'll keep this intro fairly short today so we can just jump right into the content. So, without further ado, I present to you the story of the Thunderbolts, Part 2.
Pain, blood, and broken bones. Every night for the last few weeks has ended the exact same. And as long as the Superhuman Registration Act is in place, each night will remain the same, a never-ending cycle. But to Oliver Osnick, the cycle must continue, no matter the cost, no matter how much blood is spilled. Because if Spider-Man and Captain America believed in a free America, then so shall Oliver. But this fight is almost too much for any one person. It won't be long before the night ends with Oliver's blood and broken bones. But until that day arrives, he will keep fighting. He will rid the streets of thugs and criminals, even if it costs him his life, even if it costs him his freedom. So, under the safety of the night, Oliver continues his work, steadfast and determined. Because the Steel Spider isn't scared of anybody, especially the Thunderbolts.
Last video, we were briefly introduced to the Steel Spider, an undocumented vigilante who refuses to sign the act. Debuting in 1982, Oliver Osnick was obsessed with Dr. Octopus, even creating an identical costume to his hero. But after a run-in with Spider-Man, he grew to respect him, so much so that he turned his Dr. Octopus costume into a Spider-Man costume. Inspired by Spider-Man's recent opposition to the Registration Act, the Steel Spider is now back in the game. Let's see how Norman Osborn feels about that.
Sitting alone in a dark and barren room, Robbie Baldwin contemplates his life, and how much he hates every fiber of his being. Norman knows that Robbie is one mental breakdown away from snapping, an ordeal that could kill everyone in Thunderbolts Mountain. The only thing that keeps him sane is the constant pain he lives in, pain he purposely inflicts on himself. Norman expresses his concern. He promised Tony Stark that Robbie would be treated well, that he would find a place on the team. But Robbie doesn't care if he lives or dies. He's a worthless excuse for a hero, and he believes every bit of that statement. The Penance suit might be killing him, but if that's the cost of redemption, then he will gladly give his life, much to the annoyance of Norman. Walking away, Norman wonders what Robbie's future holds, because it's only a matter of time before his depression gets everyone around him killed.
Robbie Baldwin, also known as Penance, a deeply depressed and guilt-ridden individual who wears a suit covered in over 600 internal spikes. When he dons that suit, he is actively killing himself in the process. Why? Penance used to go by the name Speedball, a happy-go-lucky hero who founded the New Warriors. But on one fateful day in Stamford, Connecticut, Speedball and the New Warriors inadvertently caused the deaths of over 600 individuals, many of them children. This event led to the Civil War. Blaming himself for the deaths, Robbie Baldwin changed his name to Penance and spiraled into a deep depression. Whether he wants to live or die is anyone's guess.
On his way back from Robbie's housing unit, Norman grimaces as the next psychopath rears his ugly head. His name is Andreas von Strucker, alias Swordsman, and he's come to Norman in anger. He wants to know if his broken sword was repaired. But Norman is his boss and doesn't take kindly to disrespectful children, especially one as perverse as Andreas. Norman tells the little scoundrel that his sword is being repaired. He just needs to be patient. Andreas has a 1-year contract with the Thunderbolts. If he keeps his nose clean and fixes his grossly entitled demeanor, he will get his part of the bargain. What Norman promised him won't be easy to deliver. Nobody said cloning was easy. But in the meantime, Norman tells him to get lost. He's a busy man with a lot of responsibility, and Andreas is wearing his patience thin.
There's a lot to unpack here, so I'll sum it up the best I can. Andreas is a mutant whose power allows him to shoot destructive energy blasts. However, this ability is only accessible if he's in physical contact with his twin sister, Andrea. The only problem is that his sister is dead. In order to get around this debacle, Andreas had to skin his sister's corpse and use that skin to wrap around the hilt of his sword. With his hands on the hilt, he can now use his powers. As for the bargain we just mentioned, if Andreas finishes his 1-year contract with the Thunderbolts, he'll be granted a clone of his sister. Not sure if this will end well.
Storming out of Norman's office, Andreas's anger gets the better of him. There's not many people he hates more than Norman Osborn. His sister is dead, and Norman is using that to his advantage. He's a manipulative dirtbag and undeserving of the position of director. A notion that is all too agreeable to Moonstone, for she has her own plans in motion, a plan that she's about to let Andreas in on. Moonstone tells Andreas that she has been tampering with Norman's medication. How well can he lead the Thunderbolts if he can't keep his bipolar disorder in check? But for her plan to succeed, she will need Andreas' help, a very important task that needs to be handled. Step 1. Get Norman removed from the position of director. Step 2. Kill Songbird before she can take his place. And Step 3. Take control of the Thunderbolts once and for all. Hard at work, Jason Strongbow puts the finishing touches on his helmet, because in the next 24 hours, he's going to need it. The Steel Spider is on a rampage. He's been beating down criminals for the last couple of weeks. And word on the street is that the local gangs are strapping up. A manhunt is about to begin. If the Steel Spider doesn't stop his rampage, the gangs will retaliate. Blood will be spilled. He needs to be stopped immediately. And Jason Strongbow is the only one who can talk with him because he used to be a hero. Jason needs to talk sense into this vigilante before innocents are killed, before things get even worse. And although he doesn't know if he can be any help, Jason decides to track down the Steel Spider. It's not like he has anything else to lose. After the brilliant misfire that was the capture of Jack Flag, Norman Osborn has gathered the team for the next job. The Steel Spider is on the loose and has put hundreds of civilians into comas. He's scaring the public and needs to be brought to justice. Take the Steel Spider down before the public comes after the Thunderbolts and make it a spectacle. Spider-Man will not put himself above the law. Show him what it's like to fight on the wrong side of a war.
Spider-Man.
Looking at Norman in confusion, Songbird simply retorts, Steel Spider, not Spider-Man. But that's what he said, isn't it? Steel Spider. They're going after this Steel Spider.
Spider-Man.
What's going on? It's almost as if Norman's medication isn't working. He doesn't feel right. He's starting to slip. He can't let them see him slip. Norman tells the group to get themselves ready. Tomorrow at noon, they take on the Steel Spider. Let's actually do this properly this time. Thunderbolts out. Sitting alone in her cozy apartment, Jillian Woods' night resembles every other night for the past few years, mindlessly watching the 6 o'clock news. But the monotony of her night is soon interrupted. Jillian is at a crossroads in her life. She has incredible power, but with no desire to use it. Early retirement over early death. She has chosen to stay out of the Civil War, chosen to remain a civilian. Anything to stay away from the chaos. She doesn't want to sign the Registration Act. She wants to move on with her life. But fate has a funny tendency to come calling anyways, figuratively and literally.
Marvel has a plethora of B-list and C-list characters that they rarely get to use. Jillian Woods is not one of those characters. A D-lister, at best. Jillian Woods was relegated to a minor book in the 1990s called Secret Defenders. She went by the codename Sepulchre and had the ability to manipulate Dark Force energy. When Secret Defenders was cancelled, Jillian really wasn't heard from again. Well, till now.
The man on the other line details his offer. Come work for his company, use your powers again, and escape the nightmarish landscape of post-Civil War USA. You're unable to find a job, your money is running low, and you don't want to work for S.H.I.E.L.D. Let's face it, retired or not, the Thunderbolts will come for you. The man asks to meet in downtown Phoenix tomorrow afternoon. They can discuss the opportunity further. Jillian Woods is at a crossroads, and for the first time in her life, she doesn't know what to do. Predictably on schedule, the Steel Spider makes his rounds in downtown Phoenix. But today is not going to be predictable at all. Because the Steel Spider is not the only predator on the prowl. Jet-powered reconnaissance drones. Their presence only ever means one thing. They're coming. But the Thunderbolts are not the only ones here for the Steel Spider, as Jason Strongbow dons his helmet and prepares himself for the confrontation. Reaching his mark, Jason yells over to Oliver, the man in the Steel Spider suit, but is met with immediate hostility. Oliver demands to know if Jason is with the Thunderbolts, to which Jason quickly rejects. He's here to inform him that the Steel Spider is riling up the local gangs, and if he doesn't ease up, bullets will start flying in downtown Phoenix. But this isn't the time for this. The Thunderbolts are coming right now. They need to leave. If Jason isn't here with the Thunderbolts, then he needs to choose his side now, because if he's undocumented, he'll be the next to go down. But Jason isn't here for a fight. He's here to warn the Steel Spider that a massacre is coming. And all those bodies will be on Oliver's conscience if he doesn't put his steel tentacles away. But it's too late. The argument is over. They're here, and they're going to take every undocumented hero down. And as always, there will be blood. With desperation creeping in, the Steel Spider screams at Jason Strongbow. Whose side are you on? Well, he sure as hell ain't on their side. Moonstone down for the count, Venom looks to take revenge as he squares off with the Steel Spider. But the Spider is ready for this fight. As he shoots Venom point blank in the face, sending him hurling off the rooftop and landing with a seismic thud on the street below. But Venom has had enough. He's angry, and he's about to take it out on everyone around him. He's on a rampage, utterly uncontrollable. Any second now, Mac Gargan will be a complete slave to the Venom symbiote. The chaos is spreading by the second. How can the Thunderbolts possibly restrain this vicious monster? Well, if they can't, then maybe this woman can, because Jillian Woods used to be a hero. And heroes don't stand back while monsters endanger civilians. And with the incredible power of the Dark Force, Jillian Woods completely engulfs Venom. Venom is absorbed by the darkness, screaming to be let go. And let go he is, as the Dark Force throws him from its shadow. But now, Venom is fuming. He's a volcano ready to blow. And now, Jillian Woods is another vigilante with nowhere to run. And nowhere to hide. But the Steel Spider isn't faring much better. Thrown off the rooftop, the Steel Spider readies himself for the Swordsman's attack. Luckily for him, the Thunderbolts are simply too slow.
Welcome back to A Marvelous Life. As always, I'm not...
Back on the ground, an injured Moonstone can't believe her eyes. 2 missions back to back, both of them completely off the rails. She's tired of the Thunderbolts embarrassing themselves. They're not working as a team. They need their secret weapon. They need Bullseye to finish the job for them. The 3 vigilantes are successfully pushing back the Thunderbolts. They're working as a team, and it shows. If they stick together, they can get through this. They may be strangers, but they're heroes, and heroes always have each other's backs. But the Thunderbolts are not rolling over, and Songbird refuses to let her team embarrass themselves again. So, round 1 is finished. The 3 vigilantes are lucky to have survived this long. But that luck is about to run out, for the Thunderbolts are looking to get bloody. And bloody is exactly what they're going to get.
Time for the recap. The Thunderbolts are on their second mission, and it's going just as terribly as their first mission. Some refuse to work as a team, and some members are too far gone mentally to even understand that they're on a team. And although Norman Osborn is doing his best to keep them all in line, he himself is being manipulated by Moonstone. The events of the last 2 videos perfectly summarize this new version of the Thunderbolts. They are out of control and excessively violent. With only 2 members on their team that actually have their head on their shoulders, that is, Songbird and Radioactive Man, it's only a matter of time before the entire team caves in on itself. Let's finish part 2 of the Thunderbolts.
Downtown Phoenix is set aflame as the Thunderbolts prepare to end this fight before someone gets killed. But the Steel Spider and his 2 companions will not give up. They refuse to partake in an unjust legal system. And now, Jillian Woods and her power over the Dark Force is their best shot at getting out alive. So, with one powerful blast of the Dark Force, Jillian completely engulfs the Thunderbolts in darkness. But Songbird has another idea. She knows Bullseye is out in the field and needs to stop him before he kills someone. So, she tells the Radioactive Man to let out a distraction. Something to let her sneak away. And with a powerful blast of electromagnetic radiation, Dr. Chen Lu stuns everyone in the immediate vicinity. A blast that purposely stuns even his own teammates as per Songbird's orders. But the radiation has also fried the Steel Spider's equipment. He's now as vulnerable as a bug caught in a web. And as Oliver looks up, he can see the bloodlust in Venom's eyes. And this time, Venom isn't going to stop until he feeds. But the Steel Spider has a little fight left. using his steel tentacles to brutally slash Venom across the back, before firing a set of steel needles into the radioactive man's face. But the surprises don't end there, for the Steel Spider has one more trick up his sleeve. A trick with a shocking twist. And delivered straight into the face of the radioactive man. He's actually winning. He's beating the Thunderbolts. He's using their broken team dynamic against them. And now, this is their chance to get away, or else they'll be spending the next decade in prison. But Songbird, Jillian Woods, and Jason Strongbow are all about to get a show they aren't ready for. Because the Steel Spider is about to lose this fight once and for all. He just doesn't realize it yet. As Venom grabs the vigilante from behind and shows the world why he is the most dangerous Thunderbolt of them all. Songbird cannot believe her eyes. The Thunderbolts are falling apart, but her thoughts are interrupted as Jillian Woods grabs her from behind and violently slams her head first into the pavement, allowing both Jillian and Jason Strongbow a chance to flee the scene. This battle is over. As the Steel Spider screams in pain at his dismemberment, the radioactive man attempts to cauterize the wound. Venom actually ate the guy's arm. It's a miracle Tony Stark allows the Thunderbolts to act on behalf of the U.S. government. Another mission, another embarrassing display of heroism. This damn team is a complete joke. With one vigilante down, Bullseye is determined to go 2 for 2. He's not leaving Phoenix without some blood on his hands. And lucky for him, there are 2 vigilantes left to hunt. 2 chances to bring home a prize. But something isn't right. Bullseye hears a strange message in his head. Someone is speaking to him telepathically.
Run, Bullseye. Your electric shock generators are disabled. Run now while you can.
Thrown off by this strange message, Bullseye doesn't know what to do. Does he trust it? Should he run? Who was it? Well, it doesn't matter. His decision is made. Life's all about taking chances, isn't it? And with both guards dead, it's now time to do things his way. Running to his bike, Jason Strongbow looks to make a clean getaway. But somebody else thinks differently. There's no getting away from this fight. Bullseye lives for the kill. His entire life purpose is to snuff the life out of others. And now, he's bloodlusted. But Jason Strongbow isn't Daredevil. He's more powerful than him. He's stronger than him. Bullseye has no idea who he's up against. Either way, he welcomes Bullseye to try his best. And with a quick lunge, Bullseye goes in for the kill, but is promptly bested by Jason. He's just too fast. The battle is over. Bullseye doesn't stand a chance against Jason. He's too quick, too powerful. The Thunderbolts took down a good man today, and for that, they will lose one of their own. Bullseye is about to find out the hard way. You can't kill 2 guards and get away unnoticed. Because this is Moonstone's team, and she rules with an iron fist. The electric shock was from the Thunderbolts, but this is from Jason. And with that, Bullseye's world goes dark. The mission was a disaster, a complete media catastrophe, one that embarrasses the entire U.S. government. The Steel Spider was apprehended but maimed on live television. The Thunderbolts' violent tendencies displayed for all to see. The team has gone off the rails, and Norman Osborn is left putting the pieces back together. Where do we go from here? But that's not all. Bullseye has suffered catastrophic brain damage, possibly permanent at that. He was electrocuted by Moonstone for killing his guards, and then had his neck snapped by Jason Strongbow. He's trapped inside his body, unable to speak or move. For now, one of the world's worst serial killers has been put on ice. And he may never be the same again. Landing on the table, Jillian Woods makes an entrance worthy of Thor, an entrance worthy of a hero. Removing her mask from her sweat-drenched face, Jillian coldly opens her mouth. That job you offered on the phone? I'll take it. Just get me the hell out of America.
And there we have it, part 2 of the Thunderbolts. The team is coming completely undone. With Moonstone vying for the position of director, she's actively pursuing both the death of Songbird and the upheaval of Norman Osborn. And now Bullseye is fighting to stay alive after he himself paralyzed Jack Flag in the last video. Trust me when I say the unraveling of the Thunderbolts is just getting started. Will Norman finally go insane? Will Songbird reclaim her role as leader? And will Moonstone successfully manipulate everyone around her? Only one way to find out. Stay tuned for part 3 of the Thunderbolts. Until next time, I'm Nashology and this is A Marvelous Life.